Mike King Biz, the premier business media brand covering and connecting Central Virginia. It's home to Mike King Biz Radio, producer of On the Mic with Mike RVA, which airs on ESPN Richmond 106.1 FM, The Choice 105.3 FM, and worldwide on IBGR.network. Follow Mike King Biz for the best business-ish content in RVA. Mike King Biz Radio presents Women Speaking Sports RVA, Friday, 6 a.m. on ESPN Richmond. The roster features Lisa, Star, Carrie, Danielle, Steph B, and Dr. Danny, giving you all of your sports news from a female fan perspective. College sports, football, basketball, tennis, golf, and a look at the business side of sports, bringing the heat every week. Women Speaking Sports RVA, Friday morning, 6 a.m. on ESPN 106.1 FM, a Mike King Biz Radio production.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Women Speaking Sports RVA. I'm your QB Star Mallory, and we have a team for you today. We've got our referee that calls the play, throws the flags, does not care, Danielle Fitzhugh. We've got our power forward, Dr. Danny, and our designated hitter, Lisa Trani. But not only are we missing our two ladies, we have one specific ladies with us on the panel today. Now, I hope everybody is wearing their closed-toed shoes because there is glass on the floor because the ceiling has been broken. Okay, honey, I've been, yes, I've been keeping that kind of stuff in my back pocket. For sure, but so Lisa, why don't you do the honors in introducing the woman next to you?
Well, I think that you should do that.
Okay. All right. So with us today, we have the first female president of the Richmond Raceway, Miss Lori. Lori, welcome to the show.
Thank you so very much.
What
a wonderful welcome. That's amazing.
Well, we see you're wearing your red and white. You have your red microphone. You're really fitting in with the ladies. Like, how do you feel today?
I feel great today, especially with you guys. I mean, this is a very energetic group. We've already been bantering. The show started about a half an hour
ago. Exactly.
There's before the show and then the show.
And then the show.
Yeah.
I'm learning that.
Pre-game. Well, Lori, we're excited that you're on the panel with us today. We kind of just want to chit-chat with you and have a conversation with you. So I think the first question would be, how did you get here?
That's a great question. So I actually have a childhood friend that is the chief digital officer of NASCAR. And I'm from this area originally, and so obviously he's from this area originally, which is kind of cool. There's a lot of connection to Richmond at NASCAR. His name was Tim Clark. A few months back, he reached out to me and said, hey, we think we're making a few changes in Richmond, and we think you might be the perfect person for us to talk to lead the track. And I was on the phone with him and said, lead the track? What are you talking about?
Lead the track where? Like
drive?
drive on the track?
What do you mean by that? And he said, we've been watching what you've been doing. We've been watching your trajectory and the way in which you connect with the community. We want someone from Richmond, and we love what you've done in business and your successful track record, and we'd love just to talk to you when we come to town for the spring race.
Yeah.
And he said it was going to be a casual dinner. Let me tell you something. NASCAR doesn't do things casually.
Okay.
At all.
Sounds like our kind of people.
Tell us more. It was without getting into too many details. A lot of the top brass flew in, and the conversation was just really energizing and really fun. And I felt like if this is how things might go with them, in the future, then this was a great start. So the conversation picked up from there. And as I've shared with other folks recently, it kind of took off. They flew me down to Daytona to meet with Jim France, Lisa France Kennedy, Ben Kennedy, who own NASCAR, the founding family of NASCAR, and then other top brass. I had 14 or 15 interviews in one day, which right?
Sorry,
right?
I was just like, wow. Yes, that's a lot. That's a lot of talking.
Yeah, it was a pretty overwhelming thought, but once I got down there and got started, everyone was just so down to earth, and they were so warm and welcoming. And I left there thinking, gosh, if everyone is like this in the organization, and these were the top executives, these were the people who, they didn't have to be as welcoming and warm, but they were. And if this is how everyone is, then I think this is probably a great place for me, and it just kind of took off from there.
Yeah.
That's great. It was cool.
What a great story.
It was really cool.
And isn't it wonderful to be wanted? Like somebody pick up the phone and call and say, I think you're it.
Yeah. You know, and they explained sort of their vision for their future forward vision, you know, and because I kept saying, why me? You know, and a lot of people around here, of course, were asking, you know, why you? You don't have a sports background. You know, and I have said to a lot of those folks, you know, I might not have a background in sports, but I've got a background in success.
Oh,
I love it.
Okay, let's put some trademarks. Where did the attorney go? Did she leave yet?
Yeah. I mean, but, you know, and that's not a very humble answer, I know, but I also, you have to get to a point where you have to, you know, understand and be confident in your ability. And I've had a long record of building from ground one, and I've had to prove myself over and over again. And I know I have to do that right now. This is another one of those moments, but I do believe in my ability. And I think when I shared that vision with you know, the folks at NASCAR, they echoed that, and they said, we're going to throw a lot of support behind you because we believe in you too.
Well, shout out to you. You said your friend Tim.
Yes.
Because one of the things that a lot of times when you're in a position to take a leadership role, people are looking at profile, pedigree, and all of those other things. But clearly he saw leadership. And great leadership is transcendent. It's not something that you just, you know, because I'm an engineer, I can do engineering. Great leadership follows you wherever you go. So shout out to Tim for seeing talent and rewarding that.
He's awesome, and he's a great leader himself. He's a very humble leader. You know, we haven't heard a lot about him, but he's from this area, and he's been at NASCAR for 10 years.
Wow.
And he's really taken NASCAR digital in a new direction. And you know, it's kind of that pay it forward thing. So now I'm looking around, how can I help somebody around here too, you know, and elevate them, because he did that for me. So
Because it's no longer a handout, it's a hand up. So
oh, that's a great thing to say.
Ooh, Danielle.
I like that.
That's
yeah.
right.
That's good.
I
A lot
like
of good
that.
words.
Yeah. So that's
We've
kind
got
of
it
how it got
recorded.
here.
We've got
Did you say she
Keep
could have
track
that
of
one?
all this,
We
yeah.
got that recorded. We got that
Keep track of all
recorded.
this. Right.
So Lisa, did you have a question?
No, I was just going to say, you know, you are one of 3 women in your position in all of NASCAR in the country. So how does that feel? Because that is groundbreaking. I mean, you're in a predominantly male occupation, so.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to be a part of that. Julie Giese, who is the president out at Phoenix, and she grew up in NASCAR. I mean, she literally started in NASCAR, and she knows everything about NASCAR from the ins and outs. And so it's nice to have her help mentor me and sort of show me the ins and outs. And then Jill Gregory, who has been in NASCAR for some time on the marketing side and at corporate, has now taken over as the track president of Sonoma. So it's a nice little tiny female club that we're all sort of calling each other and texting each other. The minute I got the position, they reached out to me, both of them.
That's great to
That's
hear.
great.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, I think that, you know, we're in for some other groundbreaking areas. I think there's a female that's running a hockey team, and then there's been some women in the NFL that are come up. And I would love it if all of y'all would get together, even though it's across sports, because you could do even more, I think. Just that fellowship of the sisterhood, not just the 3 of you guys. That's great for NASCAR, but there's some impact that you could have even broader.
I completely agree. In fact, I've been putting a lot of thought behind that. You know, Kim Ng at Miami Marlins, you know, the general manager there, I mean, she, talk about breaking glass ceilings, she really did.
Absolutely,
You
yeah.
know, that, I mean, she's it. And, you know, that's huge. And of course, we just saw the Las Vegas Raiders, you know, with
Yes.
I mean,
Not my team, but
Yeah,
we
but-
still cheering.
Of the Raiders,
Of the
Raiders,
North
Carolina A&T.
Okay.
You know, so you know, female executives in sports, that's that camaraderie. I think there is a lot to kind of bring forth, and I think there's a lot that we could bring to the table and leverage. I totally agree with you.
So, Lori, are you hoping with you at the helm at Richmond Raceway that it will diversify the attendance and audience of those customers coming in to see, we've got an upcoming race coming up in another week or so.
Oh, completely. I mean, I started July 11th, and already I've reached out to Floyd Miller at Metro Business League and said,
And the Chesterfield Chamber.
and the
I'm sorry.
Chesterfield. I did.
I'm sorry. I just got to throw that in there. I just got to throw that in there.
I mean, I want to engage fully in, diverse audiences. That's not, again, like I said earlier, it's not just because I want to, but it's a good business decision.
It's good,
Yeah,
right?
great, yeah.
We know that having diverse audiences, diverse customer base increases your revenue 15%. Who doesn't want an extra 15% in the bank?
But it's just
There's
great
your
for our
receipt.
All right,
Sell
you
it.
see,
I'm usually the money person, but
look, Danielle.
Look, that's our DEI initiative at
Getting it
work
in.
at the Chesterfield Chamber.
And women executives
Absolutely.
tend to drive something on the order of that as well. So think about the diversity, not just in the attendance and the people who are participating, but look at what it will do for women.
Oh, yeah,
I
there's
mean,
a whole
I'm just
nother number
waiting
on
to get a
workforce.
cool cap that has your picture. No, I'm just
Yeah. Or a T-shirt.
A T-shirt.
Or a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Or a T-shirt.
But so Bubba Wallace, a black driver that's in NASCAR right now. We added a new event, Bubba Wallace's Block Party. I mentioned that a little earlier.
I thought that was
mean-
I saw that. I've registered.
Great.
I've already registered.
Get
I
there
wanna go.
early.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
we're
already
on that.
registered. The kids are going to go, but I've registered.
It's amazing. We have the Virginia State VSU marching band coming through. We've got
Are the woo-woo girls coming? That's what I want to know.
That I don't
They
know.
are bad.
I don't know about that, but
you
we've
need
got-
to have the woo-woo girls.
She
Well,
wants to
saying-
dance with the woo
Look,
girls.
Oh, yeah,
And Dr. Danny might as well. She's been taking lessons.
Oh, no. I'll just have the tiara.
I just want to know how to do the walk.
Oh,
I
okay.
just want to know how to do the walk.
Well, you might get a chance. Well, and then of course Wale will be there entertaining, and we've got lots of food trucks. I mean, that's going to be a great kickoff to the race weekend, and so we are certainly making it more diverse already from the jump. I think it's necessary. I reached out to Eric Moses, who's the president of the Nashville racetrack, and he's the first black president we've had. I reached out to him before I accepted the job and said, tell me the ins and outs. Tell me what you think, because you've been doing this for a couple of years now. How do you feel? And he could not have said, better things about everything. So,
Lori,
So
where do you
there
see-
always has to be a first one, but it doesn't have to be the last one.
Exactly.
Right? So like I'm the only black chamber president of an all-inclusive chamber.
You're black?
Dr. Danny.
Danny,
I can't with her.
Throughout in the
I
whole
didn't know.
state,
I'm colorblind.
the whole state ever.
I can't.
Ever. Not in the last 20 years, but chambers have been around since 1773, ever in Virginia.
Wow.
But I'm not going to be the last,
That's right.
right? So, we just have to keep making diverse hiring decisions, hiring the very best candidate to grow our businesses.
Absolutely. Lori, before you go, leave us with a gem. What are some goals that you see for the Richmond sector? And what's your biggest goal that you want to accomplish before you get out
for the Raceway.
for the Raceway?
Well, I've shared with a few people right now. I'm trying to keep it pretty broad. I really want to get through the next week and a half and see what the team has already accomplished, because they've done so much already. They have laid a great foundation there. But I think, another mistake I've made early on is overly complicating a very simple thing, right? And so if you keep it simple, it's really easy for everyone to, jump on board.
That's right.
So the vision that I have is just for everyone to leave happier than when they came. And if you, excuse me, if everyone leaves happier than when they came, they're going to share it on social media. They're going to tell their friends. They're going to tell their family. And they're going to want to come back. So, excuse me. So I think that's the way that we're going to enter into 2023.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Lori, we really appreciate you
Thank
coming
you
to the
so
show and really speaking not just into our lives, but to the listeners. And we're really excited to see what you have to do. And we, as ladies, can't wait to join you on the track one day.
I hope it's in a week and a half.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Look, that's move-in college day for me, but
Oh.
I'll be with you in spirit because I'll need to be
Spirit.
somewhere.
Next spring. Next spring. That's a good reason.
That's a good reason.
I'll have a beer for you.
Thank you.
And we will.
You
and
might
we will.
need 5.
will, Danny.
No, 2 is my limit.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Lori, for coming in and tuning in. You can find us on ESPN Richmond on 106.1 FM, as well as The Choice on 105.3 FM. Catch us every day on Instagram at Women Speaking Sports RVA. Thank you so much to our sponsors, the Hilton, Crystal Clear Financial Solutions, Core Mortgage, Intrepid Impact with Jerry Howard, Synergy Technical, Capital Ale House, Fast Signs, NFL, Freddie Berry, and Mike King Biz. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second half of Women Speaking Sports RVA. You all know we had to go into the locker room, we had to put our feet up, we had to kiki, but we're back and we're bringing that banter to you now. I'm your QB Star Mallory, and I'm joined with our power forward, Dr. Danny, and our designated hitter, Lisa Trani. But not only are we the only ones on the field today, we have a special guest with us today. Now,
We drafted him for one game.
One game because you all know how we feel about men on the panel, but this man has our approval, and he's had our approval before, and he's earned it. This is his second time joining us today. He is one of our fabulous sponsors. Dr. Danny, who is sitting next to you?
Well, you never want to go against your core. So we have Kevin Oliver from Core Mortgage with us today.
Welcome.
Got to be true to your core.
He's one of our favorite guys.
Yes, he is.
He is one of our favorite guys. Well, before we get into the conversation, we want to let you know where you can find us. You can find us on ESPN Richmond on 106.1 FM, Friday mornings at 6 a.m., The Choice Tuesday afternoons at 2 p.m. on 105.3, and every day on Instagram and Facebook at Women Speaking Sports RVA. I know Kelvin is the sponsor with us on the panel today, but we have other ones that we'd like to show some love to. The Hilton, Crystal Clear Financial Solutions, Intrepid Impact with Jerry Howard, Synergy Technical, Capital Ale House, Fast Signs, NFL Freddie Berry, and Mike King Biz. Now, you know, when we get back from the locker room, we've got to hit it head on, and it is time for our BG update. Dr. Danny?
BG, Brittany Griner, we are BG.
We are
and,
BG.
We are encouraged. There's a lot of discussions going on about a trade, and I know that there are some people in security around the country, and everyone's saying we shouldn't do this. But shout out to the Biden administration for saying, against all odds, we want to get Whelan and Brittany Griner home, and we're willing to put some skin in the game. Now, the Russians are trying to throw a little monkey wrench in it, and they're trying to say, okay, well, you want two people, then we want another person. But what I'm encouraged by is that the conversation is being held. That the fact that there is some hope where it seemed like there was a glimmer of her getting 10 years and having to do 3 to 4 years before we started to see some progress. So Brittany, we are still keeping you and your family lifted. We're looking for the good news for when you get on that tarmac and you're on your way back to the United States.
Thank you so much. Tell them where they can find more information, Dr. Danny.
You can definitely find more information from wearebg.org, but you can also find us on our Instagram page.
In the bio.
In the bio, you can find it at Women Speaking Sports RVA on Instagram.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that update. Now, of course, like we said earlier, we've got a handsome gentleman on the panel with us today.
And I love his name.
Yeah. Say it again.
Well, I can't say it like I
said. He's scared. But we're going to go ahead
This is a sports show.
Okay, well, we're going to give him this opportunity to talk a little bit about his business. Mr. Core Mortgage?
So I'm Kelvin Oliver. I am the owner of Core Mortgage, which is a local mortgage company here. We primarily specialize in residential mortgages, but we also dabble in commercial as well. Located here in Richmond in the Great Chesterfield portion of the county. And if you have a mortgage need, please reach out to us.
Do you have any athletic credentials, any sports credentials you can share?
A little bit. So you may have seen this face along a court or two in the Richmond area. I officiate basketball here and there.
So you would say you're a referee?
That's what they might call me. Referee, official.
He's
one
sitting
of
in for the referee.
Sitting in because our referee had to
Take a
on
dip.
the bench.
Yeah, the dip.
Yeah.
You know, they stay on the bench. Well, that's great. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. Lisa, take me out to the ball game. What's going on with the Yankees?
Well, not so much the last couple days. However, I will brag a little bit on Aaron Judge's 43rd home run. And
They are just not throwing them out like they used to.
Yeah, you know. I got that's good. That's good. But I will say that the Yankees themselves, although he's been phenomenal, I haven't been really pleased with the whole trade that they did yesterday. I think we really need to keep pitching. Garrett Cole had a bad day today. Anyway, make a long story short, you know, I don't know. I'm a Yankee fan, but I'm cautiously optimistic, hoping that Aaron Judge can break Maris's record, though. He's on track.
So, you know, baseball, you know, it's something where they have a lot of games. I mean, more games
They
than
do.
any other
Yeah.
sport. And Lori, you know, even more than all the laps that the drivers do, I feel like.
Yeah.
So, Lisa, what are some of the things that baseball players can do to sustain their health throughout the season?
Well, that's a big issue, especially with the Yankees. I mean, we have one Carlos Stanton on the DL. We've got several pitchers that aren't coming back. Severino's not coming back until the end of September. So that's the whole ticket. I mean, in years past, the Yankees have really come under fire because of all the injuries. You know, people are saying their training isn't up to par, or they're training them too hard. But you know, injuries have really plagued the Yankees for the past couple of years, and that I think that's one of the big reasons. Our pitching just is, yeah, we need help.
But you know, is it me, or do baseball players, I mean, they don't always look to be like, you know how tight football players are? I just don't see it. It's like,
I don't know
like
how
baseball
tight
players
some
eat
of
what they
those
want,
linemen
do what
look,
they
but-
want.
You know what I'm saying? Some of
Okay.
those linemen don't look so tight, but
Oh, my.
Okay.
you know, I'm just
I
saying,
mean,
a defensive lineman doesn't look
I'm a
like
Steelers fan. Everybody looks tight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
that's different. That's
Yeah,
different.
I had noticed.
No, but that's been a big problem throughout. And I was kind of hoping we'd go after the big picture. We didn't, but we did get rid of Joey Gallo, which he wasn't producing. So, yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, you know, Houston is on fire, and, you know, too bad Steph isn't here because the Mets got their ace pitcher back, and they're doing pretty good. So we'll see. Maybe we'll see a Subway Series. Who knows? Who
You
knows?
know, Houston has been on a tear for several years.
That's
I
because
mean,
they cheated.
Oh, my.
Okay, next sport. I mean, I didn't see that one coming. But, you know, but they have really been like
They have.
what's going on?
This year has
Yeah.
been really, and they've got, you know, one of our local guys grew up here and went to Goochland High School, Justin Verlander. So,
Shout out to Goochland.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know that's your line, usually.
Hey, we're a team here.
We're a team. Okay. All right. So, Kevin, what's your favorite sport to watch and why?
Basketball.
Okay.
I'm just a basketball fanatic. Now, I enjoy the other sports. I love the NFL. I love hockey, baseball, etc. But basketball, I enjoy the most. And I think it's because an individual can really change a basketball team, like one individual. You know, the other team sports, you know, football, one person generally isn't going to do it. Baseball, you could have a great pitcher, but if you don't have hitting, it just has to balance out. But one great basketball player can
Yeah.
really make a
Yeah.
difference. So I would say basketball.
What are some of the? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, who are your teams?
You know,
Because that we don't know.
We don't know your teams.
That we
Yeah.
don't know. And just know we got an ejection button.
Right here on the
So,
table. Eject.
So I'll save NFL for last. So I really don't have a team in basketball. I more so follow individual players. And of course, with the free agency, it's hard to have a team nowadays.
Right.
Baseball, Lisa doesn't know this, but actually I'm a Yankees fan as
Oh,
I knew I liked him.
Yeah, I am. And football, I like the Baltimore Ravens.
Lord have mercy. Eject.
Let me mad with you.
But
They
I
have
will
some
say-
players that I like.
I
Yeah,
will
because
say
Lamar
this.
Jackson's
Jackson.
amazing.
My
Yeah.
mother is a Steelers fan. My
Okay.
mother-in-law is a Steelers fan. My daughter is a Steelers fan.
you
It's
have to
something
at least
about that black
This-
and yellow.
Yes, this is news to me.
But hold on, I have a story behind that.
Okay,
though.
do tell.
Okay, so the reason I'm not a Steelers fan, a Washington fan, a Dallas fan, Miami Raiders, is when I was a kid and used to get the NFL jackets from Sears, my mom would always buy me the ones that were on clearance.
Okay.
So I could never get any of the good teams. So I can tell you the 3 coats I had were the Houston Oilers when they were terrible, the New England Patriots when they were terrible, and the Denver Broncos before they got good. So if I would have kept those jackets,
Yeah.
they eventually
They
became
would
but
have been something.
So
the
what do you-
teams in
what
the
do you-
70s, my mom was not paying full price for anything, so that's why I wasn't a fan.
Well, I will tell you that Baltimore has won every Super Bowl that they've ever been in. It just only happens to be one.
And what do you think about the Lamar
Wait a
Jackson?
minute.
That is a great statistic.
We need somebody to do a fact check on
Fact
that
check?
because we have more than one. Ray Lewis with Trent Dilfer, and you remember the guy
she's
named
getting
Joe.
her-
You
she's
remember the
grabbing
guy
her
named
receipt.
Joe Flacco,
Yeah.
who also won.
Super Bowl?
He was.
Are you talking
He
about?
was also cute.
You
too.
talking about a
Let the
division?
record show.
Stanley, the fact checker, get back to us on that.
So what do you think about this whole Lamar Jackson and them not giving his contract yet?
You know, I haven't followed it that closely. I know that he's not represented by a traditional agent. I would say, given some of the contracts that have gone out, I just have to believe that he has to be the next highest paid quarterback. You know, it
Right,
always seems
right.
to go based on whoever got the last deal. I don't see how they can't give him the money.
I really am disappointed that the pundits are coming out and saying that he doesn't pass enough. He runs the ball, but they had so many injuries on their
Yeah.
team last year. He carried that team until, it was like, I just feel like it's really unfair that
Yeah.
people are throwing that out because he's like the face of the franchise.
Yeah, I think people forget that Baltimore had an unusual amount of injuries in the backfield prior to the season starting, and so it didn't allow them to be as balanced as they wanted to be. And I don't think teams were afraid of their running game at all, which made it more difficult for him to pass.
Right.
So I will say it seemed as though he regressed a little bit, but I think part of that was just due to the defense not having to really respect their running game. So we'll see. I haven't been overly excited about the receivers that they've gotten thus far, but we'll see.
So I stand corrected. They are 100% though.
Thanks, Stanley.
2000 and 2012. I think when I collected that fact, it was prior to 2012, and I just haven't paid attention to him
Right.
since then.
Okay. All right. But I know how many Super Bowls the Steelers have won. 6. Well, speaking of football, I do in reflection of Carrie, I do want to go ahead and wish Tom Brady a very happy birthday today. I'm not quite sure how old he is, but I'm sure she
I think
does.
he's 42, 43.
Whatever it is, he should be on the couch somewhere. I'm tired of seeing her showing pictures of him in his briefs.
I don't know. I
Him
kind of like that picture.
I thought it was
complaining.
I thought it was airbrushed a little bit.
Oh my.
It probably was.
He used his head.
Well, do you all play fantasy football?
I do not.
Do you play fantasy?
I don't anymore.
Okay,
but
so what made you stop?
You know, to be honest with you, I got so busy that I was failing to set my lineups, and I was
Yep.
like, yeah, I need to give it up. But I was really into it at one time, but just life happened.
Yeah.
And so I just don't have the time to devote
Yeah.
to it.
Well, Sunday for me, my league starts, my fantasy football league.
Wow.
So, of course, I've got to pay attention because I came in second overall last time. Hate to be the first to lose because, really got to me. So I'm really coming this year, and I know Joe just got back from his surgery.
Joe.
Who? We should have said that. Joe who? Joe brr. But I do think, I'm going to pick him back up because I know him and I, if you think about it, we're the same. Let me explain.
Okay,
Let me
I
explain.
think that every time I see you two.
And we're sort of the same.
Do tell.
And
Well,
I'll
you know
explain.
we can be anything we want to be now.
Okay.
Yeah. Your imagination unlocked. But what Joe and I have in common is that we were both first to lose. He went all the way to the Super Bowl, didn't win. I got all the way to the last round of the fantasy and didn't win. So I feel like the both of us coming together will win.
It's a connection, for
Yes,
sure.
it's a connection for sure. So I think Joe's gonna
So
come.
I'm sorry. Let me just get clarity.
Okay.
So
I know
you
where you're
want
going.
to-
I know exactly where you're going with
Okay,
this.
so
Actually,
then
yeah.
you can go ahead and address it then.
Okay.
'Cause we get ready to fire
Pittsburgh.
you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand. Pittsburgh. What I believe Pittsburgh right now is we've got Kenny Pickett, but I believe they're still in a rebuilding stage. I just don't.
Oh, okay.
I love my team. I am a ride or die. But if I'm looking at the quarterbacks and if I'm looking at the wide receivers, Pittsburgh at the moment doesn't really have any of those hard hitters.
Oh, wow. So that's interesting that you could have such a balanced perspective, and I respect that. But I expected in any game, all of them are NFL drafted players. And as they say, on any given Sunday. And so I just got to go for my boys hard and expect them to do what maybe they're not predicted to do. Because what happens when you don't have those standout, marquee, this, that, and the third, is that people come together as a team. And when you have the absolute best coach coaching a team where they say, we're not going to do it if we just depend on y'all, a couple of people. But together we can make it happen.
Absolutely.
So I'm hoping that if such is the case, when we meet your burrow friend, we're going to stomp him just
Of
like
course.
he's one. Look, just like he's one of those moles. Just whack-a-mole,
Whack-a-mole.
whack-a-mole.
Go ahead.
So he can burrow back into his
Lord have mercy.
So I have a question.
Okay.
I know you guys are fans, but do you believe that Pittsburgh has the best organization in the NFL?
I do.
I do. I think for a fact that we definitely do. We at least have one of the top.
Balanced,
Actually,
inclusive.
I do as well.
Yeah.
I
Right.
really think Pittsburgh's organization has been stellar, just throughout
and I
the
think
years.
all the other stuff that will come, I do agree that there's some rebuilding that is
Right.
necessary. However, when you have hungry people, they don't see the same limits that other people see. And I think that those first 3 games, give me the first 3 games, and I believe we're going to see something that we didn't expect to see.
Absolutely.
Simply because of, it's like, there's no pressure. Everybody's looking at you just to compete, but there's no pressure. So then why not go out and ball out?
Absolutely, yeah. I think, I'm excited to see what a few teams are actually going to do. If I'm being honest as well, I think Patrick Mahomes might go to the Super Bowl as well.
Yeah, I got Mahomes up there. I don't really like that team, but
Me either.
but I like his talent. I respect the fact that in that case, I believe that player made a significant difference. You know how you talk about basketball,
That
whether-
player, right.
Okay.
I think that he, as a general out there on that field, see the difference about basketball in my mind
Okay.
is on basketball you get to play at both ends of the court, so you can actually be stellar as a single player and be, if you look at LeBron is just as good a defender as he is down low posting up.
Right.
And so, but even though he only plays offense, I believe Mahomes' presence is there when the defense is out there. So there is something to be said about great leaders, because I think they lead on both sides of the ball, whether they're on the field or not.
So how do you think that's going to affect the Denver Broncos with the acquisition of Russell Wilson?
So I think that is a toss-up as to how that's going to go.
Yeah, because the first game with the Broncos is with the Seahawks. So the irony is kind of,
Yeah.
it's there.
So I think when it comes to that, I think he's going to deliver. If anybody's taking bets, I'm taking the Broncos against the Seahawks in that first game. But overall, the dynamics of that team, and I mean, I've got the chance to be out at Denver, and organizationally, I think that's where they're weak at. They've had some talent. They've had hella quarterbacks. They've had hella wide receivers. I mean,
But, truth be told, Russell Wilson is supposed to be a good leader.
I just don't see it yet.
You don't see
I,
it?
I don't see it. I think that he has had a good bit of talent around him, and
Well, yes.
and I'm going to say Pete Carroll. I mean, he's not a rubber chicken, right? I think he had I think he had a good organization around him when he was at
Right.
the Seahawks. I'm not knocking him, but I'm just saying, I don't think he has that same thing at Denver.
Yeah.
But now it's blood, sweat, and tears out there when you're playing against your old squad.
Yeah.
And your team is wanting to make you look good.
Right.
So I will see.
So I have a question,
Okay.
going back to Kansas City for just a second. So how do you think the loss of Tyreek Hill is going to affect them? Because to me, that's a huge loss.
That's a huge loss.
When you have his speed coupled with Travis Kelce's
Did he choose weed
ability.
again? No, let me stop.
But I'm just wondering, I mean, obviously Patrick Mahomes is exceptionally talented, but he had a tremendous receiving core, and Tyreek Hill provided a deep threat that just not many
You
players
have to have
can
somebody to
provide.
throw to.
Yes, but
Yeah.
you can have, I mean, Tyreek Hill was exceptional. But I think that he can do it with someone who's just good. I'm not saying that the next one up is a utility player, but what I am saying is that I believe that it's
Maybe a lesser
easier
talent.
Yeah.
to find a lesser talent and
Right.
have some of the same successes than if you lose a Mahomes and you have a great wide receiver, but
Right.
No
Yeah,
one,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then I also
agree.
feel like too. I mean, we are running out of time before the season starts. Like in order for you to be that quarterback in that pocket, you have to trust who you're getting the ball to. I mean, and I feel like their kind of energy kind of has to mesh. I mean, do we have time for that?
I can't speak for them. I would tell you I believe so because I believe Mahomes is such a central figure in there and that he knows that whether he completely feels it or not, he's got to convince that wide receiver that I trust you,
Right.
which means he's going to throw to him. I know when my husband played ball. I mean, we played in the grown folks league. But what I tell you, I used to get mad. Why do you keep throwing the ball to that
Right.
person? Because they don't. He's like, they're in position. And I got to make sure they know that if you're in position, I'm going to give it to you. And you've got to finish.
Right.
He said, but make no mistake. They're only going to get it twice. And then the next time,
Right.
I'm driving.
Right.
But, that's what I'm saying. So I think that a great floor general, a great quarterback, has to convince this person they're throwing to, I have confidence that you can do it. Not that I keep dropping the damn ball. I'm missing the route. I'm doing this, that, and the other. And all of a sudden, I'm just down on myself. You've got to make that person believe in themselves.
Right, yeah.
And I saw Michael Jordan do it on the court. I mean, he made people around him
Believe
better.
it, right, yeah.
And he tried to do it for what, 4 or 5 years on his own? And he couldn't. And when he got talent around him, he had to have that talent step up and have confidence in themselves. And that's when they started winning championships. So I believe Mahomes has the ability to do that.
I believe so. I think he could do it. He's one of the great leaders in the NFL.
I think so. One of the great young leaders.
One of the great young leaders.
Yes.
Yes.
We'll give you that.
So I have a question.
Okay.
Not that we have any fans on the panel, but for those Cowboy fans out there who,
Oh, wow.
who say again.
We do have a Cowboy
Oh,
fan.
I'm sorry, we do. That's right. Whoops.
I thought that was shade. I honestly thought that was shade. I was
shade too.
No,
I
I'm
was
sorry,
like,
Lisa.
what?
So I can ask you the question directly. Cowboys going to the Super Bowl this year?
No,
Okay.
no.
So
And
I
I'd
should have
like-
stated.
Lisa is
I
honestly
should have
the
stated
best
a
Dallas
realistic Cowboys
I am.
fan.
She
Okay.
is.
No,
all right.
she is. She is.
I like Dak Prescott.
Okay.
But I just don't think he's Super Bowl caliber quarterback.
Okay.
I really don't. And, we have had talent in the past and just can't get it together. You got Elliott, and again, I'm going to go back to the front office.
The organization.
I think it's just really a shame that he's got so much control over what, every coaching decision pretty much
Right.
is his. So I do like the Cowboys. I've been a fan my whole life, but I'm not optimistic.
Okay.
I'm not an optimistic fan. I'm a
A
realist.
realist.
A realist.
Yeah.
A realistic fan. A realistic fan. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are wrapping up with this segment and this show of Women Speaking Sports. We've had special guests all over. We've had a lot of laughs. We've had a lot of good times. Dr. Janie.
I just wanted to pay homage to, just like Kelvin, I am a basketball first fan, right? I love all sports, baseball, football, but I just wanted to mention that a great Bill
yes.
Russell
Yes.
Yes.
has gone on. But it wasn't just what he did on the court that was phenomenal, right? It was the role that he played in the civil rights arena that has brought him attention. And when I listened to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar speak about him the other night on, I think he was on the Don Lemon show, and he was talking about how he poured into him and took him aside and told him what things were important and how to use his celebrity for good. I just, hope that there are others who have learned that lesson and that they're going to continue to pour in the young athletes that come into whatever sport it is.
Well said,
Absolutely.
well said.
Absolutely.
Well said. Well said.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to Women Speaking Sports RVA. You can find us on ESPN Richmond, The Choice, and every day on Facebook and Instagram at Women Speaking Sports RVA. Thank you so much, Calvin, for coming on to the panel
Thank you
and
for having me.
representing Core Mortgage and, of course, for supporting us ladies.
Absolutely.
We will see you guys next week right here on ESPN Richmond or The Choice. Thanks.